Hi everyone, Wednesday afternoon, reading for pleasure time. We're going to look at chapter 4 of the You Are Awesome book. Practice makes perfect, or practice makes awesome. Now here's an interesting thing. As human beings, we are becoming better at stuff all the time. In every area of endeavour, from sport to science, we are building on experience, raising our standards and using our brains to drive these achievements. At the 1900 Olympics, the winner of the men's 100 metres took the title in 11 seconds. Today, thanks to the power of practice, that time is regularly beaten by under 15s at national school championships. Way back in the 13th century, an English scholar called Roger Bacon argued that it was impossible to master maths in less than 40 years. Today, we consider the kinds of calculations he was talking about to be the basic stuff we learn at school. So we humans are better than ever, all thanks to the brain's neuroplasticity. But you have still to practice if you want to be the best you can be. And as it turns out, you are already awesome at lots of things. Getting good at stuff without trying. Let's do a reading test. Don't groan, growth mindsets love a test. They are great practice. What does this say? And it has lots of words. If I just show you there, haven't got a clue, and nor will you, because it's just a random selection of letters. And what does this say? Peeling a banana is not easy whilst wearing woolen mittens. Both of those strings of letters have the same 49 characters. But the first one is total gobbledygook, utterly meaningless. The second, however, makes sense to you. You understand it. Why? Because you have developed a highly complex skill. Your pattern recognition with words in the English language, aka reading, is top notch. Now imagine a tiny baby. Do you think it would see any difference between the two strings of letters? No, not at all. Not a chance. None of us arrive in the world able to recognise the alphabet. So both sets of letters look like total nonsense to a newborn. Without realising it, you've probably spent hundreds of hours practising reading. It is a hugely complex skill. And I suspect you have never given it much thought. But doesn't it make you think, if you can master this reading business with practice, why can't you master that violin piece you've been putting off learning? Or nail that science topic that you think is way beyond you? The truth is, there is absolutely no reason why. Here are some more really complex things you've practiced loads without really noticing. Number 1, the ability to recognise your best friend in a crowd. Recognising people we all know is a super tricky thing to do. Think about it. Almost everyone has the exact same features. 2 eyes, 2 ears and a nose. But tiny differences in appearance become really obvious when you've spent a lot of time looking at other people. With all the practice we've had, we've unconsciously become really good at facial recognition. Imagine you're trying to pick out a particular rat from a lineup of 40 rats. Not a chance you'd pick the same rat out twice, right? They all look the same, ugly things with their hairy tails and pointy noses. But put 40 kids in a row and you'll pick out your best friend every single time. Let's face it, I'd be friendship ending if you didn't. 2. Rock, paper, scissors. Everyone knows that this is the best way to decide anything. Not sure why politicians don't use it more often. I actually won my brother's new bike off him after I convinced him to go to a best of 3. That's the thing with rock, paper, scissors. Never go to a best of 3 if you won the first go. Ever. Quit while you are ahead. He didn't give me the bike. He was very angry. But let's get back to the point. Rock, paper, scissors is a very complex thought process for our brains because of the mental backflips we do when trying to anticipate our opponent's next move. The more you play it, the more your brain becomes fine-tuned to the movements of the other person. You know, like that wild hand movement your mum makes when she's deciding to go scissors. And then, if you can convince someone to go to a best of 3, you actually start weighing up probabilities in your head. Is your dad really going to go rock 3 times in a row? So, who said you can't do maths? Number 3, recognising patterns. Why do we look both ways before crossing the road? How do you know to run into the space on the football pitch where your friend can pass it to you unmarked? Because you've seen these patterns before. You've learnt to assess the risks, the benefit of staying on the pavement for a few extra seconds, the likelihood that he'll strike the ball properly for once and not hoof it off the pitch like an over-enthusiastic horse. Warning. Sometimes our pattern recognition is a bit too good though. That's why some people sometimes think that they see the face of Jesus in a burnt piece of toast, or look at a cloud and think it looks exactly like Taylor Swift's latest haircut. So we're already really brilliant at loads of complex things. We are, in all honesty, already totally awesome. We just need to apply this awesomeness to stuff you'd like to get good at. You've clearly got the skills. Now all you need is the practice. But not all practice is equal. Bad news alert. Not all practice is as useful as growing your brain and creating neural connections. There are different types of practice, and some are much more effective than others. Yes, I know, this is a bit of a blow. How on earth are we supposed to know what to focus on? Time is precious. We don't want to be wasting it on something that is totally pointless. So let's have a look at what this means. Ask yourself this simple question. Can you ride a bike? We've got a little mind map here coming up. Little flow chart. So have you answered yes to that question? If you have answered yes, riding around your friend's back garden is not going to create any new pathways. Do you want to be able to do wheelies? If the answer is yes, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to do some tricky practice. That is going to train your brain. If you don't want to do any wheelies, take up stamp collecting. It's less risky. Back to the question, can you ride a bike? If the answer is no, practice is hard. You're learning a new skill and adapting your brain. Can you ride your bike now? Yes. So try something new. Or no, keep going, you'll get there. I hope you've got the picture. The practice that really works, that builds those strong and lasting neural connections, is practice that challenges you. The hard stuff, the stuff that might make your eyes water, muscles ache, and your brain hurt. So effective practice, that's important. Not just any old practice, practice that challenges you. We'll read a little bit more about effective practice tomorrow. Have a good afternoon today, and I'll see you again this time tomorrow.